Okay, hi everyone. It's time to get started as we're at the top of the hour. Thank you everyone for joining me today for this introduction to Kona Business. First, I just wanted to take care of some introductions. So my name is Katie Levinstein. I am the Engagement Manager for Kona here at Deltek. And on the phone we also have Ashley Smith. She is the Engagement Manager for a myriad of products at Deltek, but today she'll be focusing specifically on Opportunity Manager. And she will be speaking to that later on during the presentation. And to give you some background on what we will cover today, we'll be leading a discussion on Deltek's project and team collaboration solution called Kona, but we will also see how it is particularly focused on allowing you to create projects and groups for pursuing your opportunities and any other work that applies to the government sphere. If you have any questions during the presentation, you can click *6 and that will unmute your line, and you can share questions or feedback at any time during the presentation. But at the end, I will be opening the line for any questions that you may have afterwards. So now we will get started. So here is our agenda for today. We are first going to cover what Kona is and some background on the solution. We'll then talk about why Deltek created Kona specifically. I'll then go into how Kona works as a product. I have some security information I can share with you. We'll talk briefly about how Kona is a mobile solution as well. We are going to talk about Kona as it integrates with some other Deltek products, and this will show you how it works specifically with Opportunity Manager, as I mentioned previously, and then a few others will show you as well. And then we will spend most of our time in the product itself, so we'll do a live demo during this presentation, and then we'll close with some live Q&A as well. I'm just going to pause for a second. It seems like our line is actually not muted, so I'm just going to take care of that really quickly.
The conference is now in question and answer mode.
Okay, so we are ready to move on. We actually want to be here. So here's where we'll talk about what Kona is. So Kona is a cloud-based solution, so it is hosted in the Amazon cloud, and our servers specifically are located in Virginia. So you can access Kona from any major browser, from Kona.com. So we don't have any on-premise option. This is completely cloud-based, completely SaaS. And it is a project management collaboration tool. So it is a tool that you can use to manage the different projects you're working on, the different proposals you have, opportunities you're pursuing. You can also use Kona to set up different groups for the different teams that you're a part of. And really, it enables you to bring people together around common purposes and goals to get things done. You can also use it as an individual, so there are capabilities and functionality that caters to your individual needs. And it also brings together some elements of your business and your company, so it'll bring together the different people that you're working with. So some examples, as I've already mentioned briefly, you can use Kona for proposals, your opportunity pursuits, your projects at deadlines. You can use them for your teams, and you can also use it for file sharing and really any kind of collaboration. And we'll go into more detail later on around that file sharing as well. I'm sure that's all something you're interested in hearing. Now we'll talk a bit about the backstory in terms of why Deltek created Kona. So a few years ago, we started to notice that a lot of our interactions across our business units and with our teams were starting to get a bit overwhelming due to this surge and increase in the kinds of tools and communication tools specifically that we were using to share and gather information. So as we can see in taking a look at this timeline, the way that we've been able to communicate with people has really improved and increased. So now we have all these different ways we can work with one another. But the problem we observed with our project teams and our groups is that it really became very stressful, very overwhelming to try to filter through all this information. So consuming and organizing it was the true challenge. And we wanted to really tackle this issue, especially because Deltech is so focused on projects and people. We really wanted to further enable people to get things done in a more productive way. So this is really the business problem that we set out to solve. To provide you some background, this was at the beginning, the spring of 2011. So this is a very new product, but it has been growing and expanding rapidly. And this is what we set out to solve in creating this collaboration solution. In terms of how the product is set up and really what components it's made up of, we use this social business triangle, or you can think about it as a collaboration triangle, to break down the different structures and features that we have within the tool. So we'll start at the top. We can see that Kona Business is very focused on personal productivity. So it gives the individual this personal view of all the different tasks they have to follow up on, the different projects that they're working on, and ultimately these things that they have a responsibility to complete. It gives you this expansive view of all these different events and tasks that you have to follow up on. On the right side, we can see it provides you with a private collaboration network for your company. So this is a private place within the tool where you can work with other people to share updates across the organization. If you're working on large efforts, maybe there's an acquisition you're working on. These are all different things you can converse around and discuss in completing different components and parts of these to-do items across your organization. It also provides you one private place where you can connect with different employees, have one-to-one private conversations, and really build relationships across your network. And then on the left side, we can see you also have groups for internal and external teamwork. So this is where you can bring people from both inside and outside of your network to get things done, coordinate around deadlines, and really work very smoothly and effectively. Within these three different focuses, we also have some primary features, including the ability to work with an unlimited number of people. So you can invite an unlimited number of people both inside and outside of your network to these different projects and opportunities that you're working on. And you are building out these groups in what we call Kona spaces, and I will show you how this works a bit later on. Within these spaces, you can have conversations. So Kona is very conversation-centric, which means that you're having these collaborative, real-time discussions with people around the different tasks that you're working on. So you can create tasks with deadlines, you can have recurring tasks, you can have tasks where everyone on the task must complete something, or just one person. You can create events, calendar events, for the private calendar within your group. And lastly, we have file sharing, and file sharing is available across all these conversations and collaborations that are existing within your space. And we are working on improving our file sharing, so you can share files of different kinds and different types. We are working on introducing file versioning soon, which will be a very powerful feature for you to utilize. And as a part of that, you can do file replace, and you can also use our file viewer, so you have the ability to view files within Kona, as well as downloading them locally. And we'll go into a bit more detail later on when we take a look at some examples within our Kona space. In terms of security, Kona is very safe and private, so all of your information, once added to Kona, is safe and secure. It is hosted in the Amazon cloud. All our information is encrypted. So this gives you some high-level information about our security. If you do have any questions or would like to have some security information on hand, I would be happy to provide that following this call. And Kona is mobile, so we do have mobile apps that are free for download for both iOS and Android, so you can access our app stores today and download those for free. So now we're going to transition into the portion of the presentation where we'll start to talk about how Kona integrates with our Deltech products. So we do have plans to integrate with all Deltech products, as we see that would be very robust and very powerful for all of our clients and all of our user base to be able to use Kona, the collaboration solution, in conjunction with your other solutions and other Deltech products. So here what I wanted to show you briefly was Kona within one of our professional services tools called Vision, and this is a look at Kona within Vision 7.2. So here is Kona, the Kona widget. So this is a widget that's embedded within this particular project. So we're looking at the Kona Project Info Center, or the Vision Info Center rather, and we can see Kona as it's integrated within this view. So here we can get a sense of how this integration provides a lot of context with regards to what you're working on and how you can keep your interactions, your collaborations safe within the context of your project. So while you're working on this project, as it has different parts, different components, you can reference a space, a Kona space that you've set up that is related to this project. So you can see files that have been shared across that project team, tasks that you're working on actively, and conversations that you're a part of. So this allows you to really tap into that collaboration as you're also working on that project. So you are not flipping back and forth between different views. This is another view similarly with Kona within Vision Navigator. So again, we're looking at this project view. We can see the name of our project, some of the different things that are going on as they're related to our project. And again, we have access to these conversations and the different files and things around them. Now we're going to show one other of our professional services tools, Meconomy, Deltek Meconomy. So this uses the Kona integration. It's a browser embed. So here we've actually been able to bring in the whole Kona tool through the Kona tab. So again, once you're in a project view, you can access your tool and the different spaces or groups that you're a part of as they relate to the different work you're doing within your Deltech solution. And now we're going to transition over to Kona as it integrates with IQ and Opportunity Manager. And this is where we'll spend really the bulk of this presentation. So we'll be focusing in on a particular opportunity. We'll see how we can work on that opportunity in Kona and how we can bring that information back into these solutions. So we wanted to show you this integration before we jump into Kona, so you can really get a sense of how these different tools link up. And I'm going to now transition the line over to Ashley Smith, and she is going to speak on behalf of how the opportunity and Kona really connect.
Katie, can you hear me?
Yep, hi Ashley, thank you.
Okay, hi everyone. As Katie mentioned before, my name is Ashley Smith, and I'm the engagement manager for many different products, specifically Opportunity Manager. And Katie and I got together, I guess a month or two ago, as some feedback I was getting from customers when I was going on site to train them with respect to some of my products was how can we use Kona as a proposal / BD / capture tool? How could it be tailored for the GovCon world? So what you see here is a screenshot of an Alliant opportunity, and it's actually, as Opportunity Manager does integrate with Dublin IQ, you can easily take an IQ opportunity, push it into this tool called Opportunity Manager, which is an IDIQ / TWAC management tool that manages task orders, and then use that, once that no bid decision is made, transition over to Kona to then use the collaboration piece for the actual active capture or proposal or BD pursuit of the opportunity. That being said, Opportunity Manager also works for long strategic captures and some of the full and open opportunities, merely due to the fact that you can pull them over from the IQ side. So if Katie, do you mind going to the next slide? So this is what the integration actually looks like in in Opportunity Manager with the Kona widget. However, we are going to delve right into the actual Kona space to go over all of the elements from a GovCon template that we had worked up, I believe, a couple months ago, and are now showcasing to you all on the phone. So.
Okay, so yep, we'll switch over to Kona. So before we jump into that opportunity, I just wanted to kind of preface what we're looking at so you have this understanding of how the tool works. So we are now in Kona. So I'm accessing it from Chrome. It's my go-to browser. So we can see we are logged into the tool from the individual's point of view. So this is what it looks like for the individual user. When they come in, they have this condensed view of different conversations and activities that are going on around the different projects that they are working on. And as I mentioned, and Ashley has referenced as well, Kona is made up of spaces. You can really think about a space as a project or that opportunity that you're working on. It's just the means by which you are setting up a private place to bring people together around these different things that you're trying to accomplish. And in Kona, to add a new space, you come over to the left side under Spaces. You can click Add. And this is where you can then set up that new project or that new opportunity that you're going to work on. And from there, you can invite people to join you, and you can invite an unlimited number of people to your spaces. So we are now going to go into that opportunity space that Ashley mentioned. And what we're looking at right now is what we call the overview page or the overview tab. So this will give you a quick high-level view of some of the active and ongoing things in the space. So you can set up announcements with the group. You can see some active conversations, and some of these other things that are highlighted, like recent activity. So this will give any of those group members the chance to see what kind of things are going on at a high level. We can take a look over here within our space. You can see what people are in your group, so you can see what different people you're working with around this particular opportunity or pursuit. So we have different people that have been invited here. For instance, we can see these are what we call internal collaborators. So these are people who are within our direct network. We've invited them in to join us. We can also see we have guest collaborators. So this could be someone outside of your direct company. You can still invite them into your space to interact with you, work with you. They just can't have ultimate ownership over that information. So this is a really great way for you to have that external collaboration all within this one field within Kona. We also can take advantage of people groups. So this is the way that you can set up different teams or smaller groups within this larger opportunity. Here we've broken them out by different roles. So we have capture, BD, proposal. So these are these different teams within this larger group that you can then utilize when you're assigning conversations, maybe setting up calendar events. This way you can see who you're bringing together to fulfill these different purposes within this group. And now I'm going to hand it back over to Ashley. She's going to talk through the different activities and items that are set up within this space.
Okay, thank you, Katie. So, as Katie mentioned before, this is a collaborative space, and it also is a repository in a sense. So when you are actively pursuing an opportunity, whether it be a short-term opportunity or a long-term strategic capture, you can host conversations, assign tasks, have just a group, a common calendar for events, as well as share files. As Katie mentioned before, this is permission-based access. So hypothetically speaking, in the conversation section, as you can see, I broke it down into teaming, past performance, pricing, just some basic conversations that are normally associated with a pursuit of an opportunity. Let's say, hypothetically speaking, you were discussing work share with some of your potential partners. While you can host all of the conversations in the work share discussion folder, you can have separate conversations with individuals. So, let's say you had 5 teammates. You could have separate conversations with each of them to discuss work share, and one company or partner would not be able to view the conversation with the other. Any internal employees that would have access to the conversation would be able to access it. But if it was just, let's say Katie was my partner on this opportunity, we had the NDA signed and executed, and we started discussing the teaming agreement. If only myself we'll pretend I'm AEMS Incorporated, was in a discussion with Katie's company, and I did not add any internal employees, the conversation would remain merely between Katie and I. As a user, you could then add individuals ad hoc to the conversation at a later time, or create a brand new conversation with individuals that you would like. So from a privacy perspective, you can make this as secure or as general, if you have a general announcement that you'd like to announce to everybody who's in the space as you'd like. And I believe Katie is going to show you how to do that really quickly.
Sure, so I can demonstrate here how you would create a new conversation. So from the top, you can click Add a Conversation. So this discussion is just being added to this private space, so only the people within this group will have access to it. So we can see here, by default, the conversation will include everyone, but as Ashley mentioned, you can break that group down and you can just select certain people within this group. So this will give you the ability to lock down information, guarantee who you're sharing that information with, and therefore providing private access to just those individuals. So you can have these private discussions without everyone in the group having access.
And just to piggyback off of that, so thank you, Katie, for showing how to actually do that within the Kona space. The same is applicable with the teaming discussions as well as competitive landscape. Most likely, the teaming discussions as well as the competitive landscape would be something that is internal only. So while potentially, your partners would be able to see that a folder is created that says teaming discussions, they would not have access to anything within those folders. But it is a great way to just have, instead of having to go through the thread after thread of those emails and reply all, it's great to have everything in just one location, one-stop shop. Everybody can access it at the same time. Add comments as they please. You would also get an email alert, or should you be accessing the Kona mobile app, you could access, any comments that are added or then added to the discussion via your telephone. I know when I used to work on proposals and such in a former life, I was obsessed with always knowing the status of everything that was going on within the pursuit at all times. And so having the Kona app gives you just ease of accessibility, and it's aesthetically pleasing and very easy to use. So you could also store things like past performance documents, again, making them only accessible to internal employees, as well as pricing or your price to win, and all of that. Let's say you send out a data call to your subs to then provide pricing to you. They could upload that file, into this pricing folder, only make it accessible to you as the prime, and then you can go from there. So that's the conversations piece. Again, however you work your proposal or your pursuit, it's to whatever process or business model that you have. But as you can see, it's very customizable and it's easy to use. So now we'll move on to the task section. So I like the task section merely due to the fact that you let's say I'm the proposal manager and we are starting the proposal. I can task items out to individuals. So as you can see, some sample tasks that we have created. I have tasked Eric with the past performance templates, getting them out to the subs. And you could set dates and timelines so that when you're actually having reviews of what tasks are outstanding, what have been completed, what needs to be added, you could easily pull all of that information for when you're having like your daily stand-up calls and all of that. And tasks you can actually task out both internally and externally. So let's say a partner is in charge of writing a section of the technical volume. You can task them with that, so it's actually on the record. Essentially, there's accountability for it, as it is a definitive task within your space. And it's just easy for a task manager to actually keep track of everything and just see a general overview of everything that's been tasked out. I know most of you on the line are most likely used to having a spreadsheet of some sort, so this is a little more dynamic, but also, it's just so much easier, I guess, in my opinion, having used Kona before for actual opportunity pursuits to manage all of that there. So as for this sample template, I wrote it down. I just, in this case, specifically for this RFQ, there's the various volumes, so management technical, obviously pricing, and then just past performance. That was a folder created for, the internal staff to then start, whether it be sending out templates or actually filling out past performance documents or researching, etc. So again, you could slice and dice it however you'd like. Just depends on how you'd actually like to utilize the Kona space. So, good. And events. So since this was created a while back, Katie, can you go back to the month that I actually had all the stuff in there? Okay. So obviously, that's pink and green team like back to back. So one day after another, we just added stuff just to show you guys from like an aesthetic point of view. So the group calendar is a great function, and much like any anything else with the tasks and conversations, it is permission-based. So let's say you have the PTW strategy session, and that is only open to your internal employees. You wanted it on the group calendar, but you don't want your subs to see when all of this stuff is happening. You can just add and delete people as you see fit. Make it a private or a public calendar event, and if it's private, obviously only individuals that are added to the invite would be able to see it. But it's just a great way to just have everybody to have situational oversight on everything that is going on surrounding the actual pursuit. I know some of y'all on the phone are just used to Outlook invites, as well as maybe, I know in the past I've gotten Word document calendars with all of the events and all the meetings and basically the timeline of proposal. But this is just more fluid, it is just easier to manage than all of that. So, Katie, do you mind showing them how to actually add an event?
Sure. So from the calendar, at the top, add an event is the field where you can add a new event. And you'll see that this is a consistent model across our different tabs. So the same goes for tasks, conversations, and files. So you click into this field, and this is where you can set up a new event. So you can break it down, including specific groups, specific people within the space. You can set a time, so start and end time, and you can even use our location. So the location would be great if it's an on-site meeting, or if you're going to have a remote meeting, you can add dial-in details. You can add any notes, files, and that way you can keep everything in context. Here's where you can decide whether or not you want this content information to be open or visible or private. So you can certainly make your calendar events private. One other thing I would like to emphasize is a great way for you to stay on track of all these different events. As Ashley mentioned, several of you probably use Outlook and other calendar systems. You can integrate your calendars, so you can certainly share this calendar for this opportunity, post it out in one of your outside calendars, and vice versa. So you can pull in your Outlook calendar to Kona as well. So that's a great way for you to really maintain one calendar, keep track of all the different events and meetings that you have going on. One other thing I will note is you can also set up your tasks with deadlines to appear on the calendar, as Ashley has set up here. So this will give you a way to view not only your events, but also your tasks when they're due.
Okay, thank you, Katie. So now we'll go into the file section, which is the last piece within the Kona space. So for this example, for this demo, I had broken this down just into different sections. So the original RFQ documents. And that's just an easy way. So to just keep everything in one place where everybody could access it. And then let's say, hypothetically speaking, so let's say you submitted this proposal, you've won it, and the POP is 3 years. You're approaching the end of the period of performance and ramping up for recompete. As this is a repository, you could actually go back into this Kona space and access all documents associated with this solicitation to prep for recompete. So it's a great area to actually post all of your gate review documentation, your call plan, just any information surrounding the opportunity in and of itself. And again, as it is permission-based, you do not run the fear or the risk of having your partners accessing this information, as you can set those privacy settings and who within that respective company would be able to access it. So let's say, hypothetically speaking, you only wanted the executive management team to have access to a certain document. That is definitely doable. Again, it's just very beneficial, because while there may look like, since this is the owner view, it may look like a lot of information to a user. They'd only be able to see anything that they're granted access to. So it's a great way for you to just host everything in this space, and know that it will be safe, and 3 years from now you'll be able to access all of that same information. So in this section, I broke it down with a past performance folder, and all the documents in here are actually just blank documents or blank spreadsheets that I just renamed as things. So you can host your past performance. As you see, I broke it down to a gate reviews and then a subfolder for the various different gates, proposal documents, call plan, color team documents, and then all teaming documents. So it's a great area for you to invite anybody on the proposal side, BD, capture, the VP of BD, or depending on your business model and how much of an oversight, that individual would have, your partners, etc. And as you can divvy up the individuals that are a part of this space into people groups, you can create a people group that are your partners. So it's a quick add to add the partners to have access to a certain file, etc. And I think Katie is now going to show you actually how to add a file in Kona.
Yep, so again, we have the quick add at the top. This is where you can add a file within the Files tab of the space. So this is where you can upload files. You can upload files one by one here and share them with different people. So this is how you can lock down permissions. So sharing here with just the BD group. Whenever you see the paperclip, this is where you can add files. So within those conversations and tasks and even events that you were having, within this comments field, you'll see the paperclip. So that is the way for you to share files across those different interactions that you're having. I can jump back and show you actually what that looks like. But here you get a sense of how you upload a file, where it lives. So all files shared in the space will come into this view, where you can then group them into these different folders like Ashley has set up. So here we can see within this particular account, we have these different options for files. So you can upload files that are saved locally on your computer. You can add links. You can also use the external file sources if they have been turned on by your administrator. So in addition to these two, we also do have Dropbox, but this particular account admin has actually turned that feature off. So as owners of your account, you do have the ability to turn off any of these file sharing sources if you want to limit that within your project or your opportunity. So when you upload a local file, you can pull in Excel files, PDF files, PowerPoints, whatever it may be, and you can share those with a specific group of people. Can show you an example here. Ashley has uploaded the past performance document. So this one you can see is just, shared with just 6 people. So this is a subgroup of the entire space. And this is where you can see all the files that you have shared. So we have these different ways that you can sort and view them. Just to jump back over into conversation. So within the past performance conversation, for instance, we can see that there is a new file. So we have this new icon here. We can also see from within the body of the conversation that Ashley has shared a file here. So this is where you can add files, again, using the paperclip. So whenever you see that, it means you can add a file to a conversation. So it's keeping all the information in context. So you aren't looking through emails and different conversations to try to search for the latest document or piece of information that's relevant to that discussion. This is also a great opportunity to show you what we call conversation poll. So this has been set up in such a way where you can seek feedback from the group, drive a conversation or a decision, using voting. Ashley, do you have anything else you want to point out before we move on?
I believe I've covered everything. Do we have any questions on the line thus far? I'll take silence as a no.
And we will definitely have time at the end for questions. So now we are going to share a few more things in Kona before we conclude with our Q&A. So what we've seen so far is a really in-depth look at an example of an opportunity space. And as I mentioned, you can create spaces and have spaces set up for a number of different purposes. With your Kona Business account, you get a free network space. And this is one space where all of the employees that have been added to your Kona Business network are automatically included. So this space is a little different than our other spaces. There's no invite model. It is access is provided through membership with the account. So all these people have seats within your network. It's a great way to connect with people across your organization, bringing people together to have discussions, plan for events. You can even share updates that are relevant to the company, like benefits updates. Maybe you're rolling out a new tool internally and you want to seek some feedback. This is a place where you can have those different conversations. Something that Deltech is doing with our network space, and it's been very successful, is using conversations for newsletters. So if you have a weekly newsletter that goes out monthly, instead of sharing it on maybe a static intranet or via email, You can utilize conversations and make that information a lot more interactive, robust, through use of our conversation notes. So within a conversation, you can set up your notes on the side. This is where you can use our formatting options to include and embed images, hyperlink information, and this is a great way to really and truly make that newsletter more collaborative. So you can also have discussions around that information. So this is how you can use Kona, extending beyond the opportunity. Is there a question?
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, we did have a question in reference to the last demo.
Sure.
For the opportunities. Do you have to have GovWin in order to import that opportunity, or is there an alternate way to import whatever opportunity we're looking for?
Great question. So in terms of importing, at this time we actually don't have a way for you to import the opportunity into Kona. I actually did this manually, so maybe Ashley, you want to talk about how you set this up?
Yeah, so essentially speaking, so I know some of you on the line may not know what Opportunity Manager is or have it. This is applicable to any opportunity. So let's say you find the opportunity on SEO or govwin.com. You can definitely create a space surrounding the opportunity, but you do need to do the initial upload of the original solicitation documents. This is something that could potentially be coming down the line, depending on the avenue in which we decide to go with this respective integration. Not promising anything, but that's definitely a great idea. But so essentially speaking, it's just creating that initial space, inviting the individuals internally who you desire to be a part of that pursuit team, as well as then adding the external partners or the external users or your partners. And it literally takes maybe 2 to 3 minutes to create the space and upload the respective documents. So that being said, I guess to answer your question, yes, essentially you can bring in any opportunity into Kona.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, that was a great question. Thank you. So this brings us back to the presentation. We'll just wrap it up from here. So another business feature that I wanted to talk about was space templates or space publishing, and this will be particularly useful for opportunity creation and also for reproducing that process, as Ashley mentioned. So in terms of, sorry to interrupt, it sounds like someone's phone is ringing. Maybe you could just put it on mute. Okay. So in terms of how you can repeat this process, you do have the ability to create a space, as Ashley has done, for a particular opportunity. And this is where you can set up the different files, different conversations and tasks that you have, and then you can publish that space into your company's private template gallery and make that space available for repeatable use in the future. And you can do this a couple different ways to set up your opportunity space. So what we did is we had Ashley create the space from scratch, and what we did was copy a version of it. So you can copy a space within a Kona Business account, and here are just some quick instructions on how to do that. And then what you can do is make that copied version the template. So that way you can still continue to use that original space and take advantage of it without having to put it into published state and kind of make it dormant. So what you can then do is continuously copy from that template then. So you can go into the Add Space field and select from that template that's now been made available in your gallery. So what you could do is you could just publish your original space or copy and publish from one of those copies. As one of the designated space publishers, you have this option under your space dialog, edit dialog, where you can then set up that space as a template. You can set it up around a due date, if there's a particular start or end date associated with that opportunity. And then each time you download that space, you're going to get that file structure, those different tasks, and all the folders that have been set up for that space. And that brings us to our discussion. So I'm going to open up the line now. I'm going to turn everyone off of mute.
The conference is now in conversation mode.
Are there any questions on the phone?
Hi, yes, I have 2 questions. The first is to link the event to Outlook. Who does that? Can I push can I make an event and then push out an Outlook invite, or does the person have to go in and manually do it themselves?
That's a great question. So in terms of the Outlook integration, it is an individual decision that the user.
I'm sorry, I can't. Can somebody mute their phone because I can't hear you?
Added that group at the top level. Does that automatically update across the board? So if you have a BD group and you have it assigned all over the place, and you change who's in that BD group up here, does it push it down? I think it does. Okay, be honest.
It's not. If there are any conversations in the room, could you please mute your line?
Outside of Hill, you're going to have to have Kona on their side. It'll get a.
I'm going to mute the line, and then if you have a question, just click *6.
And it's free. It's like one.
The conference is now in question and answer mode.
Okay, so what I'll do is if you have a question, you can just click *6. It will unmute you. So I will return to that question about Outlook. So the Outlook integration is an individual decision. So an individual user would integrate their calendar into Kona and vice versa. So there is currently no way for you to send an Outlook invitation from within Kona, but when you invite people to Kona events, and they have that email alert turned on from within their profile, they will get alerted via an email. It just won't be an Outlook invitation. Are there any other questions? If you have one, just click *6 and you'll be unmuted.
And I have one more question. The other is there any space file or size limitations?
There are no file limitations. There is a storage limit on the entire account, but there is not for each file or for each space.
Thank you.
Great, thanks.
We had another question in regards to the billing function.
Sure.
It's good that there's no space limit to the the documents that we can upload for billing, but as far as the approvals of those documents, is there a particular way to do that, or is it captured through the compensation piece of it?
In terms of approving the file across the group?
Right. So we have certain PMs and managers that are required to place approvals on the billing documents. So just a chain of receipts as far as who's looked at the document, who's need edit to a particular document. Is there a chain of events that we can capture for each document?
Yep, that's a great question. So at this time, there is not that kind of functionality. We are working on improving our file viewing and versioning functionality. So that is something that could come out in the future.
Could we possibly create a group like we did for the proposal piece of it, and just put a copy of the invoices in there and send them out to our group and then they can just respond via messaging?
Yes, you can certainly do it that way. So you can set up specific people groups and assign or share that file with just that group, and then you can request feedback and response that way. The other thing you could do is you can set up a task so that it's everyone must complete. So when you look at the list of assignees, there'll be a check mark next to the name whether or not they've completed it. So you could create a task with that group, upload the file, and then require that each person check off their part once they've reviewed it. So that's another kind of workaround solution that you could take advantage of. Great questions. Are there any others?
Is there anywhere we can find this presentation that you just did?
So I've been recording it, so I will save that file. And I was planning on sending some follow-ups to participants, and I can send out that file as well. If you, for whatever reason, maybe your particular email wasn't on the sign-up list, you haven't received it, feel free to reach out, support@kona.com, and just say that you're requesting the recording from today's presentation. I'd be happy to send that to you.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, thank you. And as I haven't mentioned yet, but on screen we have our Kona support email. So we have our support channel, which is also accessible from within Kona. There's a question mark icon in the top right corner of the tool. That's where you can reach out to support, ask questions, report any issues. And this is, you can reach out to us directly at any time. Any other questions before we conclude today's presentation? Okay, so I take that as a no. Thank you everyone for attending, and a special thanks to Ashley for helping us today with our Kona presentation. Hope you all have a great day, and look out for a follow-up email from me as well. Thank you.